Hi there, this is Josh from Flip Data, and today I'm going to show you how to use forms in PowerApps. I'll show you how to connect to a data source and then either write, create, or display records from that data source. So join me on the computer and I'll show you how to do it. We are Flip Data Academy. We're exploring the world of data, analytics, and business intelligence and sharing everything that we learn with you. We have how-to videos, we break down complex topics into bite-sized learning nuggets, we share full-length training videos and show you how to revolutionize the way you use data, all in the tools that you love. So join us on our YouTube journey, and if you like what we do, check out our content-filled website to join our community and see our premium training courses. Okay, here I am on the computer and I've already got PowerApps open. Firstly, what you should do is connect to a data source. I've already connected to an Excel sheet stored in OneDrive for Business that contains a list of addresses. We're going to use that to connect to our forms, but you can use any data source that you want. To insert the form, what we need to do is select Insert from the top ribbon and then Forms. And here you're already going to get two types of form, the Edit form or the Display form. So this is one of those weird PowerApps quirks. You've got two types of form, the edit form and the display form. Now, the display form can only display specific records, whereas the edit form can either edit records or display them, as well as create new records. So the edit form can do everything that the display form can do, whereas the display form can only ever display. So that's why you should always use the edit form. So I'm selecting edit form here and it's inserted the form into the page. Now I'm just going to move it to the middle, and the first thing you're going to want to do is connect to a data source. So in the properties panel on the right, I'm going to select data source and I'm going to connect to the data source I already have in my app. Now that it's connected, you'll see that nothing's changed. Once you've connected to your data source, you need to tell it which fields from the fields in that data source do you want to display in the form. So I'm going to select Edit Fields, and then I need to click on Add Field, and then you'll see a list of all fields from my data source. I'm going to select all of them and insert them into my form. Okay, once that's done, you'll see that I now have a card for each of those fields, and I can change some of the properties if I want to. I'm going to close this for now and I'm going to show you how the forms function. On the left, in my tree view, here's the form 2, which I've got selected here. I'm going to select this drop down and you'll see that I have a card which has been created for each of my fields. If I open up one of these cards, you see that there's 4 objects with each card. So you have 4 different objects. You've got the box itself, which contains the value from the specific record. You have a label telling you the title of the field. You also have 2 other things, which is a little star that indicates if it's visible, as well as an error message that appears if there's an error. So these are things that you can change. You can delete them if you want, but they're default for all of the forms. So heading back to the properties panel on the right, we have a few more options to go through. Firstly, we have columns. So you can see by default there's 3 columns. If I adjust the width of my form, the size of the columns adjust so that they're all equal. I can change the number of columns if I want. So here we have 3. I can select 2 if I want to. Now we just have 2. I can also change the layout between a vertical or horizontal form if I want to. So if I want to change the size of one of these fields, I'm going to select address and I'm going to drag this to the right. But you can see I can't adjust it to just half the width of the next card. I can only adjust it to the full width. That's because we have snap to columns on. So if I change the property, so here, snap to columns is switched on. If I click it, it's now switched off. And then if I adjust the address form once again, I can then change it to any size I want. So I'm going to change it and keep it at this size. Then along the bottom of the properties panel, we have a few basic things. So the visibility, the position, the size, as well as some formatting options that you should be familiar with. But here we have the most important part of forms, the default mode. If I select that, we have 3 different options: edit, new, and view. So the edit form allows you to edit a specific record, the view form allows you to view a specific record, and the new allows you to create a new record and save it back in the data source that's connected to the form. So what I want to do is show you the view first of all. So I'm going to change the form default mode to view by selecting it. So you'll notice that the boxes have disappeared. That's because we're in view mode, so the user can only view the specific values and not edit them in the text boxes. But we're not actually seeing anything yet because we need to tell the form which specific record do you want to view. So there's a couple ways to achieve this. In the top left, under the properties of this form, there's a property called item. So if I open up item, then in the function bar, this is where you then describe which type of specific item from your records do you want to allow the form to view. Now there's lots of advanced things you can do here, but most of the time, and the most basic way, is allow the user to view all of the different records in the data source, then select the one that they want to view or edit. So with that, we're going to use a gallery. So I'm going to insert a gallery first. I'm going to insert the vertical gallery. Now we have another video explaining all about galleries. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to learn more about galleries. Now that my gallery is inserted, I'm going to connect it to the same data source as my form. And they're a little on top of each other now, so I'm just going to resize the form so it's to the right of my gallery. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now we need to connect the form so that it's connected to the selected item from the gallery. To do that, I'm going to select my form, and then in the items property, I'm going to just say gallery1, which is this gallery, dot selected. So now the item property for the form is set to whichever item from the gallery the user has selected. By default, it picks up the first one. So now let's give our app a little test to demonstrate. Now my app is running. What I can do is I can scroll through my list of addresses, and each one I select, now the form updates to display that specific record. Okay, so that's display or view forms. Let me show you how you can edit. Okay, what I need to do is select my form, and then I'm going to change the default mode from view. Now it's going to change it to edit. And it's already allowing me to edit the same record, but now I just have edit boxes. So let's make some quick changes there. So I'm going to play my app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll to the top, and we'll change the very first record. What I'll do is I'll change the manager name to myself. So you can see this time I'm able to change that. So I'm just going to put Josh in there. Okay, I've changed my name. I'm also going to change the address. So I'll just put new address in there. And what you'll see is in my gallery, the address hasn't changed yet. That's because we need to create a button that allows the user to submit this new data back to the data source. So I'm going to close the app for now. What I'll do is I'll insert a button. So I've got my button here. I'll just move it underneath the form. And on the onSelect property of the button, what I need to do is a function called submit. So submit form, and I'm going to connect it to the right form. In my case, it's form 2. I'm going to close that. And now when I play my app, I have my new address typed into the field for this specific record. When I click on the button, it's now going to submit this edit data back to my data source, and you can see in my gallery, it's now updated the address. Okay, and the final type of form is the new form. So I'm just going to select my form. Then I'm going to go down to default mode, and I'm going to change it to new. And what it's going to do is it's going to blank all these records, and it's going to work in the exact same way. I can type any data I want in there, and it creates a new record in the data source. Okay, so that's how you use the basics of forms. There's a lot more advanced, cool ways in which you can use forms, and we explore them in some other videos. I'll leave them in the description below. I'll also leave you with some full-length training on PowerApps if you're interested. And if you like what we're doing here, then consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one. We don't just make informative YouTube videos. On our website, we share free and premium courses, job aids, resources, webinars, and more. So if you like what we do, check it out. You can also find us on major learning platforms such as Udemy and Skillshare. Links to everything can be found in the description. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe and notification bell to never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.